99 days until the start of football season. But who's counting? Who has the most pressure going into this year's NFL season?
We are nice and early on this topic. Good for you.
Yeah. I figured I'd jump right in, lay claim to this. Todd? Ooh, quick with the hand.
I'm going to say Josh Allen and the Bills. They've been so close, and they're flirting with it, and how much longer before you start getting that, oh, no, the window's closing on the Bills and Josh Allen?
All right. Marvin, how about you? Your recommendation nominee for the most pressure?
The Detroit Lions. They've been on the cusp for a couple years now. Now it's time for them to step up.
Okay. Now, have we moved past the San Francisco 49ers with being on the cusp here, and Brock Purdy just signed a new deal? So you've moved past your Niners? No pressure on the Niners, but you got most pressure on the Lions, huh?
Well, they've gotten to a Super Bowl.
Okay. All right. So they're good.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
All right. Paulie, the most pressure going into the NFL season that starts in 99 days.
Well, those guys took the top two. I'm going to go / John Harbaugh, Lamar Jackson. They have to advance deep. They have to make a Super Bowl.
That's the correct answer, Lamar Jackson.
Oh, wow.
And you could say, yes, I have the answers to the test right here. Yeah, I already got it from the commissioner. Seton, do you have a nominee for most pressure this upcoming season?
Well, I was going to say Lamar Jackson.
But now that you know the right answer.
Yeah, it turns out we both got it right. I'm going to say, how about Tua and the Miami Dolphins?
Okay.
There was a little bit of a window there, but that is closing. People are heading for the hills. No one knows what's going to happen with Tyreek. I think Tua's got a very short leash there. They have to do something great this year.
Yeah, I think it's on Lamar because, okay, are you going to vote for him for MVP again, even if he has the best season, knowing that they flame out in the postseason? And John Harbaugh and Mike Tomlin are similar. Their careers are very similar. I think their resumes, winning one Super Bowl. But John Harbaugh's had the MVP at quarterback. Mike Tomlin hasn't had a quarterback. And I think the pressure is on I think the most pressure is on Harbaugh and Lamar Jackson. Yes, Paul.
Seton mentioned Miami. Mike McDaniel, fun story, likable guy. 2 years ago, he had the second-ranked offense in football. Last year, they were 22nd, and they didn't make the playoffs. You miss the playoffs again and don't improve. It's a chill on him. He's cooled off.
Oh, I think this is a make or break year for him to keep his job. And I think also with Tua. Although they did sign him to that big contract here, but and look, he can put up great numbers, but you got to see postseason success. You got to get to the postseason. Yes, Eden.
Yeah, that's the thing. They invested in that team, and they're not doing anything in the postseason. You got to get some return for it.
And I understand the Buffalo part of this. At some point, you have to break through. You have to get to the Super Bowl, but I think we looked at Buffalo. We underrated Buffalo last year. And as a result, anything that they did, we're like, man, they're a lot better than we thought. Still a dangerous team. And maybe the pressure is more on Josh Allen if he wants to be the best player in the NFL or recognizes the best player. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else that comes to mind. I think there's a little more pressure on Joe Burrow than you would normally think because he did say to management, I got to have those guys signed up. I got to have Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. And I would think, okay, we did what you asked for. Now make the postseason. Yes, Todd.
I would put the pressure. I'd stay with that group, and I would say the team, specifically the defense. Joe Burrow put up some great numbers, and on many cases and many occasions throughout the season, the defense let them down. The Bengal defense specifically better step up for that team.
Yes, Paulie.
I'll also throw in there as a contender, maybe not a first ballot, the Pittsburgh Steelers, Mike Tomlin, and their general manager. They've had a rough offseason perception-wise, and if they do land Rodgers and they don't get better, they were 10-7 last year. They weren't awful. But if the Bengals get better and they go the other direction, I don't know how many years Mike Tomlin can get away with this if they don't make the playoffs.
Because, okay, there could be pressure on the Steelers and on Mike Tomlin if they get Aaron Rodgers, and then if they don't get Aaron Rodgers. Like, either way, it's different pressure. It's like, why didn't you guys get another quarterback? Why didn't you draft a quarterback? Why didn't you take Shedeur Sanders or Jackson Dart when you could have? But if you get Aaron Rodgers, it's like, okay, this is what you wanted. This is what you waited for. This is where you bowed down to him. You acquiesced to Aaron Rodgers. Now what are we going to get out of this? So I would throw the Steelers, Mike Tomlin in there as well. Yes, Marvin?
A question for the room. A second-tier pressure team. The Houston Texans, they cooled off because they were hotter than fish grease the year before, C.J. Stroud's rookie year. Then they got hot. Then they cooled off. Now, what do you think about them going into year 3?
Well, they had injuries. Their wide receivers, Tank Dell, Stephon Diggs, that situation. I guess C.J. Stroud, maybe a little of, was it a one-hit wonder? Can you try to reclaim that? So, yeah, I guess, second-tier pressure. We've created a new category. Yes, Paul.
Second-tier pressure on Michael Penix taking over the Falcons? Light second-tier pressure?
I would sprinkle light on that.
Smattering?
Yeah, smattering of light. That would be a light beer, I think.
Okay.
It's not a stout. It's not a Guinness. Yes, Todd.
Pressure on Jaden Daniels to prove it was not some kind of fluke, that he can do this consistently in the next year.
Now, I'm going to give him a hall pass for this upcoming season. I think there's going to be a little bit of a letdown there. I do. But I'm not going to go, he's not who we thought he was, because I do think he has the potential to be a special quarterback. The league gets another shot at you, understand what you do, tendencies, how to beat you. And I keep bringing this up. They won, I think, 7 games in the last possession. While that's great, and you love having that ability to win those games, that's not sustainable in the NFL. Yes, Paulie.
Here's some more level 2 pressure, and it could be level 1.
Okay.
Trevor Lawrence at this juncture. He's not the young star anymore. He's the veteran whose team was 4-13.
I don't think that's secondary pressure. I don't think he's in the second tier.
First tier?
Yes, he's getting paid like these other guys are. Big time money. You got a offensive-minded head coach who did a great job with Baker Mayfield. Now I got to see something, and I would put him. I'd lump him in there with the tier 1 pressure group here. Yes, Marvin.
Did we just invent a new game? Tier 1 pressure, tier 2 pressure.
This will end up on Nick Wright's show on Fox Sports 1 this afternoon, because he loves to do those tiers, different levels there. Yes, Paulie.
Imagine during OTAs, the Jacksonville media's there, and all of a sudden, excuse me, Trevor, I don't know if you've heard, you're on level 1 pressure, according to the Dan Pat Show. Your thoughts?
Yes, Todd.
When we put Justin Herbert in the Chargers, kind of in no man's land, he wants to be considered, and many do, an elite quarterback, but they got to go a lot further than they have to be considered like a great quarterback.
Well, Jim Harbaugh's already come out to say Trevor Lawrence is a Hall of Fame quarterback or going to be a Hall of Fame quarterback. And meanwhile, you're a coach who loves to run the football. So you have a Hall of Fame quarterback, but you're going to choose to play like you did at Michigan when you had J.J. McCarthy as your quarterback, but you still ran the football. Yeah, Paulie?
It's very interesting with Justin Herbert last year. They didn't do a lot in the postseason, but he was 11-6 as a starter. He had both the best season and the worst season of his career. His stats were all down, but his efficiency was up. His interceptions were down. His completion percentage was way up. He's a very efficient quarterback with not eye-popping numbers.
Well, this is what Harbaugh wants. J.J. McCarthy was drafted in the top 5. But if you watch Michigan play, they never, it felt like, relied on J.J. McCarthy to win a game. And maybe that's what Jim Harbaugh wants. They're going to play great defense, run the football, and then you're going to pick your spots for Justin Herbert. Yes, Marvin?
On the opposite end, you said the Washington Commanders are on scholarship. Is there anybody else in the NFL that's on scholarship this year?
Oh, Nick Sirianni of the Eagles. I'd say he's on scholarship. Caleb Williams is another guy who is going to have that, I would say, level 1, that tier 1 pressure. Like, okay, you got a better team here. You want to be in Chicago, now prove it. So I would say that would be level 1. I'm not sure who. Do we have a level 3 pressure?
Is it pressure if you are at level 3, though?
That's a good point.
Right. So that would be a
does
team.
Russell Wilson have level 3 pressure on him, or is it level 2?
He has
Yeah, Paul.
level 2 career pressure to finish up strong-ish.
Okay.
No pressure to raise up the Giants.
All right. Okay.
However, in order to save his career, he needs to raise up the Giants.
Correct. The dichotomy.
Yeah.
But this is level 2 pressure
Right. Career pressure.
with a potential level 1 payout for him?
But shouldn't, career hanging by a thread pressure be more significant than 2?
Bias.
That feels like a grade A number 1 type of pressure.
But I don't know if people look at it that way with him anymore. I think in Denver, maybe we looked at it like, all right, let's show Seattle why they made a mistake.
Yeah.
And then we realized, and then we got to Pittsburgh and we're like, okay, let me see what he can do. Now with the Giants, you're like, he had a pretty good career. Yeah, Paulie.
Just to clarify, level 1 and grade A pressure are the same, correct?
It's sim. Okay.
Got it.
All right. Yeah, sim. Yeah. Yes, he.
They already got the videos of Russ, too. It's like there's like 4 quarterbacks all throwing. Only one of them is in like a full uniform.
Of course. Russ probably goes to bed in that football uniform. He's always like eye black. He's ready to go.
Shorts and a
Wakes
shirt,
up.
except for one guy who's in his
Yeah.
game pants. You're like, oh.
Yes, Todd.
Are Bo Nix, Sean Payton, and the Broncos on a mini scholarship because they got a lot further than a lot of people thought, having them win maybe 6-7 games? The fact that they just made it to the playoffs, even though they got blown out by Buffalo.
I'm going to say, yeah, you're on a 1-year scholarship there. I do. But I think they surprised us, and then they made the playoffs, and then they got blown out by Buffalo. So, do you agree, Todd? I don't know.
I hope that's not their mindset going in, that like it doesn't matter how great we are this year, we got to the playoffs.
No. You asked me. No,
I did ask.
This wasn't. I'm not thinking about the Broncos. Like, of course they want to make the playoffs again. They can't go, hey, guys, don't worry about it. Dan Patrick said we're on a 1-year scholarship.
I think they're on a mini scholarship because of how well they played and how Bo played in his first year. If things don't go well, at least they had this past year.
All right. Yes, Marvin.
Then we have the rest of the teams. Tierable, the Titans,
Dang, terrible.
Colts, the Patriots, the Jets.
Any pressure on Mike Vrabel in New England? That tier 3 pressure? Question mark. Yes, Paul.
He's got the 1-year legend hall pass, though. The classic 1-year legend player coming back to save the day hall pass. Gerard Mayo didn't get that big of a hall
Yeah,
pass.
but they didn't even they gave Gerard Mayo a year.
Yeah. Vrabel is a New England legend. He gets the 1-year hall pass.
Okay. Yes, Eaton.
The problem, though, with Vrabel is that he's already coached before and did pretty well. There's expectations on him. He's not Gerard Mayo is coming in like, all right, let's see if he can do it. Turns out he can't.
How much pressure is on Brock Purdy? Level 1, level 2.
I put level 3 pressure. He should
Level
cruise.
3.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't see any pressure on that lad.
Same, I'm with Steve.
What about, well, you're a Niners apologist.
But he's also
Marvin.
gotten to a Super Bowl, and the other guys we talked about haven't.
Yeah, team-friendly
Okay.
deal. He's a
Okay.
boss. He's a hero.
So nobody thinks Brock Purdy's under pressure, tier 1 or tier 2, Paul.
I think tier 1/2, if I could be somewhere in between those.
No.
I'm sorry, that's not how this works.
It's 1 or 2.
I didn't see the
It's
bylaws.
like in or out. No, I just created the
Okay.
bylaw.
I would say
Yes,
then
you're-
tier 2 pressure for Brock Purdy because now a failed season is on him, not others. And injuries won't matter.
Yes, Todd.
Mark Sanchez was just texting us. He loves this segment, mini scholarship, tier 2 light pressure. He's just loving the phraseology we're coming up with going into this season. He's having a ball.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mark.
He listens every day. And he likes
Yeah,
to
maybe.
kind of check in, but he loves these phrases we're using to describe the levels of pressure.
All right.
He had that New York Jets pressure.
he did.
He gets it.
Okay.
He
Did he
gets-
have tier 1 pressure?
I think he played his way into tier 1 pressure. He had a couple of good years there. They beat the Patriots a couple times.
Went to a couple of title games.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
GQ magazine cover.
He
Yeah,
played his
Paul.
way into expectations.
He had the team traded up to get me pressure. I think the Jets traded up at least 10 picks to get Mark Sanchez.
That's pressure.
That's pressure.
That's tier 1 pressure.
That was.
Yep.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, okay.
Right from day one, tier 1.
Tier 1.
Mark could back us up on this.
All right, let me take a break. Just getting started. By the way, good morning if you're watching on Peacock.
Sports
All of a sudden,
Emmy.
Paul-
Nailed it.
Hell yeah.
Nailed it.
Forward that to the Emmy folks.
Okay, are we on tier 1 pressure for next year's Sports Emmy or tier 2?
Where did we land with Russell Wilson again? It's about the same
Are we
level
the
of pressure.
Russell Wilson?
Yes.
Just kind of hanging on to a career, hoping to squeak out a win.
Without a Super Bowl ring.
Damn. Damn.
That's exactly who we are.
Crush that segment.
Sometimes you don't want to know the answer to the question you're asking.
Yeah.
Yes, Todd.
Sanchez says he was under tier 1 all caps pressure.
Wow.
All caps pressure.
Oh, big cap. Okay.
What are you, the president of the United States there, Mark? All caps? No cap. All right. So we're Russell Wilson going into this next Sports Emmy season.
We're Russell Wilson post Steelers.
Wait, no. We might be Mark Sanchez. We've gotten to a couple of title games. Now we got to get over the hump.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Paulie.
By the way, if anyone wants to know how this show is done, we in no way planned that segment out, even a little bit. I think on my screen that you see, Dan, I put 99 days till the NFL season, and that was the only jumping off point. And we
That was it.
crushed.
The
There's
rest
all
is
kinds
just natural talent.
Yep.
That we just.
You know what? How about a round of applause?
All right, come on.
Let's go us.
Come on, Sports Emmy this year.
Come on, man.
Let's go.